Fantastic Four, the first episode is finally out, and I'm here to express my opinions. I watched it yesterday with my sister. We had a lot of fun. And look, I have been waiting for this moment for a very long time. I am a huge Fantastic Four fan since I was a kid, and I've been wanting them to be in the MCU for as long as I could remember. And I was not disappointed. I really, really love this movie. I think everyone was amazing. I thought the director did great. I thought the writing was good. I loved the type of movie this one turned out to be. So to kind of give a plot synopsis before I continue, the Fantastic Four is set in a different Earth called Earth 828, and they're just these celebrity heroes. They're not like in Avengers, crime stopping heroes. They're explorers, they're scientists. That they not and I say explorers, I mean like they're space explorers, and they get a message from the Silver Surfer declaring that Galactus is coming to end their Earth, and the Fantastic Four have to come up with a plan to stop them. And let me just say, it is a very, very tenseful and stressful movie. I was explaining this to some of my friends. I think this is the very opposite of Superman, where in Superman, when you watch it, you're smiling, you're crying, in a happy sense. You're crying in a happy sense. Fantastic Four, you're squeezing your seat and you're crying of sadness. Like this movie is stressful. I was stressed out. I think like the big final act of this movie. I was just like holding my breath, like just oh my gosh, the stakes in this film are so huge, and I freaking love it. I really, I'm being very biased in this review, and if I had to go like on a filmmaking thing, I'm sure there's bits and pieces, but I generally think this is one of the best looking Marvel films out there. Like, there's some parts in there that you could tell was shot on film. I really like that. I very appreciate the editing was good. They have some unique stuff. I really love that they didn't half-ass the retro future 60s vibe that they wanted to do with this new Earth. I really love that it was like it's everywhere. How they edit it, certain sounds, all that. Like it's really good. Even some of the filmmaking techniques they use to bring Galactus to life. I really love a lot of the things they did for this film and everything that it looked. As a Fantastic Four that has been as a Fantastic Four fan who got very disappointed in a lot of the attempts to make these guys into live action. This felt like an apology to all those last versions, as well as a love letter. I don't know if this is for, I won't say it, but I really appreciated just the. I really appreciated how much love was put into this film and how much it feels like a love letter to this team. The first 7 minutes or whatever, the opening of this film, it is just it literally seriously is just like just it's just a love for the team. It's just showing things that are very iconic uh, with these groups, how their powers work, the villains they fought back then. I've been reading a lot of the 60 comic books this year, and so I got a lot of the references, and there's certain name drops. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I really loved it. I really did. It's a lot of just like I really do think a lot of us who are big Fantastic Four fans, and I have seen that on Twitter a little bit, you're gonna come out really happy. You're gonna look at all this and be like, "This is Fantastic Four." Um, I guess I think the first thing I want to talk about is like each of the cast members. If I do forget a name or not, no diss, no diss. I really think everyone did good. First off, what's about the leader of the group, Mr. Fantastic, played by Pedro Pascal. I think out of anyone, this was probably the most, well, probably second most controversial casting choice for this team. Some of these people were always controversial in some way, just because some people were like, he doesn't get life. Pedro Pascal, and I think for the movie that turned out to be was a really good choice for Mr. Fantastic. I was already always a fan. Like I do admit when I first heard it, I was like, oh, okay, not bad. But then the more we heard about the story, and obviously when you watch the movie and like what the big deal is, what Galactus wants, you fully understand why he was chosen for this role. Um, I really think Pedro Pascal, he acted his butt off. Like, I just want to say right there, he is doing the best job I think I've seen him done. Like, he's really good, like, in The Last of Us, and I would say he brings some of that vibe in there, like this father energy. Now, of course, Joel and Reed are two different people, and they're not at all the same thing. I really love just that protectiveness that he does have in a very fatherly figure role that he is to this team and to, to a character that, if you haven't seen any of the trailers or ads, I won't spoil. Um, but one also other thing I guess we should talk about is I really love that this is a very much of a family movie. Like, let's put it out there. It is a family movie. It's It really is. It's about loving. It's about how important family is, and just about, like, how we'll do anything to help and save our families in situations. I really love that. I think Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic is a great choice. I think anyone who doubted him, anyone who was like, I don't know, and let's talk about the stupid comments I've been seeing where it's like, I don't like him because he's a brown man. Mr. Fantastic's white. It doesn't matter, guys. It's an alternate universe. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care about the whoa. Shut up, man. Enjoy movies. Just enjoy a movie. He does really good. He does amazing. I think he's a good Mr. Fantastic. I loved it. Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman, also another amazing performance. Like, there's just so many times. Like, I don't want. Is she the most? I think she's like the most kind of mature-ish character in the whole film. She's really. Oh my gosh, she has a lot of great moments in this film. She does really good as Sue Storm, and again, besides Mr. Fantastic, who he kind of puts logic over emotion sometimes, but he has a good mix of both, and he does. And there's kind of a point where he kind of talks about how hard and how he hates that part. Again, I don't want to spoil stuff, but just kind of like stuff where he has a hard time balancing out and not doing the logic and just putting emotions forward, like in the front of his pathway. Where Sue's the opposite. She very much puts her emotions and her love in front of her and doesn't really want to think about logic. Doesn't want to do the logical stuff. She wants to do, like, it's kind of that, like, Spider-Man sort of thing, across the Spider-Verse, where it's like, we don't sacrifice anyone. No one has to die. We can protect everyone. We can save everyone. And a lot of those moments and conversation and arguments that she had with people were really good. There's a whole speech she has in the film that was also really good. Yeah, she was a freaking standout. Um, I think his name Joseph Quinn, the guy who plays Johnny Storm. Very sorry. Uh, I do remember some people being very angry about him, and I also, but yeah, but he's freaking good in this movie. Like, he is the Johnny Storm. He got that charm. He just has this vibe to him that when I was watching this, again, I read the 60 comic books. I was like, this feels like that Johnny. It is really good. I really love all of that as well. I really love what they did with Johnny in this movie. Usually sometimes he is sort of the idiot of the group. But I really love that they prove why he's a Fantastic Four besides his abilities. He is not an idiot. He does know some things. He does kind of know, he's kind of a bit of a scientist a little bit, and he has a reason to be there. The problem is he is the youngest of them all. He is very much the one who, he's a kid. So unlike the other ones just don't relate to him, and he can't relate to them either. But he's, I would say, very mature-ish, I guess, in this film, maybe. Mature as Johnny can be mature. Um. Oh yeah. And then of course we have, I don't know how to say her name, Evan Mask something. The guy who plays the Thing. He also did really good. I think his voice, and I think from the behind the scenes he was in a costume and all that. I think he did a good job as the Thing. I think out of all of the cast members, I think everyone got like a good, like, everyone had a moment. I do think the Thing got undermined. They kind of gave him a plot, like, little side story that does. It's not the focus, and I don't mind. I think it helped the pacing and the feeling of the film. But I do feel bad for the Thing, because he does give it undermined, and they don't give him enough moments and time with him and his little story that he kind of has. And I wish they kind of did, but understandably, you gotta make the movie feel nice, because a lot happens in this movie. in the 1 hour and 55 minutes that it goes on for. Yeah, I think they did great. And then, of course, we have, I think it's Julia Gardner, and I don't know the Galactus' actor's name, but they both did really good. They're really good, threatening presence, presence. Galactus, I know people are gonna make this joke all the time, but like, he's not a gas cloud. He's a gigantic dude. He's threatening. He's perfect. I really loved him. He did really good. He's a very like, he is threatening. And Silver Surfer was also really cool. I know it's kind of the Pedro Pascal thing where it's like, oh, Silver Surfer's a woman. Boo boo, woke stuff. Kill Disney. Shut up. Doesn't matter, man. You know, it doesn't matter. All right? Like, at the end of the day, it's an alternate universe. They're trying to make this more clear and to stand out. And eventually they'll probably do the male Silver Surfer in the MCU. And it won't fuck. It doesn't matter. I don't give a damn about this sort of shit. But she did freaking amazing. I think all the moments she did was really good. I really loved it. Galactus was freaking good. Loved it too. I think they both did amazing. And then, to talk more about the movie itself, it just, I said this earlier, it looks really good. There's a lot of great CGI, good practical effects. I think everyone's powers look good. Mr. Fantastic, I was a little disappointed. I kind of wish he had more to do with his abilities. Like, they turn into a teacup and I don't know, something like silly, like, very goofy stuff that Mr. Fantastic would do. Turn himself to a cannonball. I would have loved moments like that. But understandably, I feel like, you have to get audiences and the general audiences to vibe with this team. And I do think, if you had that in the first film, you might have turned some people off from this movie and go, why is he doing that? And in this movie, he's very generically just stretching, but I loved it. I love that, like, it's not just for combat. He's actively using it in his daily life. To draw on a chalkboard or to, grab something or pull something. I love that. I think it's really cool, and I was just really happy of every moment he stretched. The thing looks great. I think the CGI looks really good. There was probably at least 2 to 3 times where I was like, oh, okay. That looks a little goofy, especially with one specific character that I won't talk about because it's kind of a spoiler if you're someone who hasn't watched trailers or anything. Um, but yeah, I really liked Fantastic Four. I thought it was really good. I loved it. I definitely think because I was a fan, I won't say I had expectations, but I definitely had like an understanding of who these guys were. So I easily myself could get into it. Also, you know what? I totally got sidetracked. So I don't know what to talk about fully because I'm just so excited about any of this. One thing I really did love about this movie was how it wasn't action heavy. It wasn't just let's do the coolest big action stuff. It was very much like it was dialogue. It was more of them figuring stuff out, like the planning and all that was really good, and showing some of the consequences they go through. It's good. It's good freaking stuff. I love it, and the family dynamic is great. I really did love how they portrayed them living together. There's some like few like funny moments with Herbie, and to talk about like humor. I think this has to be one of the like most like least funniest Marvel films in a way, in a sense that there's nothing corny or nothing like, oh yeah, like, or is he behind me, or oh that sounded cooler in my head. Nothing like that happens in this movie. The humor is very dialed back. This is a very serious movie. Again, I'm not saying it's like overly dramatic serious. Like there is like some gags and little goofs there and there, but generally this movie is just like, it's just serious in its tone and it takes itself serious. There's not a moment where it feels scared to go comic booky, and or to you know I guess in my sense, I think less of the humor made the stakes feel higher because you really feel like anything could happen in this movie, and I really love it. And as well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I guess to make some exceptions for people who have seen Thunderbolts in the post-credit scene, I have seen people get upset because I will, admit, Thunderbolts does not. Sorry, Fantastic Four does not lead up to that post-credit scene. The way this movie ends, the way its own big post-credit scene, which was freaking crazy. How that all went, did not go, this is the other side of that post-credit scene in Thunderbolts. And I seen that people get upset by it, but I generally didn't mind it. I think if the movie ended that one way that we all thought it was going to end, it would have felt like a lead up to a whole film, and it would have ruined it for me. But this movie, it ends on its own story. It's its own story. It doesn't feel like a big setup for a different story. I love that. I love that it's not just a big setup movie where it's like, oh, we gotta get out of here and go to this different Earth and whatever. Like nothing like that happens. It's just they have their problem. They're gonna try to solve it. Won't say if they, were successful or not, because that would be a spoiler. But you gotta figure out if they're gonna solve it or not, and you don't know that, so you're pretty stressed out when these things are happening, when characters are getting their butt kicked, they're being flung into space. Like you're just terrified every moment that Galactus is there, and I loved it. I love how this movie goes. I was not disappointed. I think me saying that you should be wary or your expectations should be low when watching this film. Don't expect a like you're gonna see the Thunderbolts post credit scene, but with in their point of view, that obviously I think is gonna be for Avengers Doomsday. I think so. I think we'll have to see how that all pans out in Avengers Doomsday. Again, like I said, there are actually two post credit scenes. The mid one that comes out after the first credits is the more important one. You want to watch that one. If you have to go to work or something, or you don't have all day to like spend at the theater and you need to leave as soon as possible, you don't have to stick around for the second post credit scene, the very last one. It's a nice little callback to earlier in the movie, and it was very cute. It was very nice. I really loved it. But understandably, you don't need to wait for that one at all. Uh, anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a different one. There's no like, I didn't put a video myself. This is, I kind of like doing this more. I don't know. I'm just testing this out, see if you guys like it. Just having this more of like an audio kind of thing, and I'll put some sort of pretty visual. Hopefully, if I didn't, then I'm disappointed in myself. Anyways, hope to see you guys in the next video. Tell me if you guys liked Fantastic Four: The First Steps. I will have I'll do two different spoiler reviews for Superman and Fantastic Four. I want to get on Tuesday, hopefully, if nothing happens, I will watch both of them again, and I want to have my thoughts fully out on how I felt about these two movies. There's a lot to talk about in them. I really want to talk about awesome things. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.